Okay. Jerry Kasanovich, I'm the head referee instructor for Region 4. I'm probably the one who does the most games for them.
Yeah, that's the award. And referee and Coach Carlos. So some of you know me one way, some of you know me the other. Do we miss anybody? Okay, first question. If you are a referee, raise your hand. Look around. Thank you. If you are a coach, raise your hand. Excellent. So we're really glad that we've got a good mix in here. Coaches, congratulatory to you guys for actually wanting to know what the rules are for playoffs. So I applaud you and salute you. Think about refereeing one day, because it is a really good, it's a really good understander of the laws so that you can coach your team even better to make sure that you are able to do the things that you can do within the laws. So with that, let's jump into it. Take it away.
Okay, first thing I want you to do as we go through this training is try to visualize it happening on the field. We don't have any diagrams or pictures to help you with that. You're going to have to do that yourself. But sometimes that will help you think about and understand what we're talking to you about. I'm going to start with here, playing time. Now, this is important. You know, we have a three-quarter rule in this region and this area also. If you didn't know that, we do in the whole area and section. So any way you play up through this part of the system, you will have to play, the kids on the team have to play three quarters. Anyway, no goalkeeper restriction. Okay, that's important. Before for 10s, they could only play so many quarters in the goalkeeper. Same with 12s. 14s didn't have that problem. For the playoffs, yes.
Every player has to grade play three quarters.
Correct.
Is that 12 or you 10?
Oh.
Because I've got,
Well, depending on roster size.
yeah, because I
I
have
see
to
what you're
play.
saying. Yeah, okay, no, that's true.
A couple are going to only get half the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
is the
can't.
exception if you have too many, yeah, to do
Right.
that.
I said 3 each quarters, and I only have 10 players, so it's like, I don't have a lot. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You won't get dinged for
But
that.
you might want to be thinking three quarters, yeah, if we happen to have that mathematical problem in a sense, then obviously you won't. But it is important to understand, goalkeepers may play the whole match in goal if the coach wants them to and they meet the three-quarter rule. But if they need to have that player out to make sure everybody else gets their three quarters, then they wouldn't be able to play the whole match. Okay? So, but that is a change that we do for the playoffs. Makes it kind of easier if that's the way you like to go. I don't know, 10s, how many, if you guys have a goalkeeper that you want in the goal for the whole match, but if you do. Okay, games must start on time. This is really important. Daylight savings time doesn't start till Sunday after our first set. Yeah.
Yep.
But this goes for all of them. Anyway, it's important they start on time. What it talks about here is the concept that if you're going to do the game coming up, you've arrived, as you always will, of course, 20 minutes ahead of time and are ready for the game. You're going to go, you see that game behind, in front of you is getting a little behind. They got kicks to do. That's going to take a little extra time. Go check in the teams, do the coin flip, have it all set to go so when the other team is finished, you can get out there on the field and get started right away. This is really important, yes.
So if that's happening and they're running behind schedule the team before, do we tell the coaches, if you're going to exercise your team, they don't get it, the minute they go off the field, we're on?
Right,
Right,
absolutely,
so
yes.
the coaches understand they're not going to get time to go play around and
Yeah,
back and
good
forth.
point, yeah, no, they don't have guaranteed kicks at the goal for a while, no.
Okay,
They're gonna have to do that on the sideline or whatever they wanna do.
all right.
Good question. Okay, tie resolution. There's a bunch of stuff here, you don't have to worry about most of those words. The reason you don't have to worry about most of those words, a lot of that stuff refers to final games. Because the final games are the only ones that have extra time added in the playoff, in the game format. So all you have to remember for all these games this weekend, and probably next weekend too, as far as I remember, the only tie resolution is kicks from the penalty mark. And all games must have a winner, can't end with a tie. So if it is tied, excuse me, if it is tied at the end of regulation, then you're going to go straight to kicks from the mark. And we're going to try and give you a good idea about how to do that and how to do it quickly. I've seen some more experienced referees take way too much time getting the kicks from the mark done. It's not a complicated process. It doesn't need to take a lot of time. Okay? So just to keep that in mind. If you have a tie game that you're in this weekend, kicks from the mark as your resolution. Now, substitutions, again, a lot of this stuff that they're talking about has to do with playoff games that are the finals that have, oh, thank you. Not used to the new format here, we're kind of doing this. Okay, anyway, all you have to do, remember, for yours is the substitution rules, what it's always been. Okay, substitute at the quarter, well, approximately the quarter break, approximately halfway through each half, and at halftime, and any time for injury. Okay? Same as always been. You don't have to learn something new for that. So it's going to be your substitution for your games, yes.
So I've got a couple gals that are asthmatic and not injured,
Okay.
but on occasion there's tears and that's
Okay.
considered an injury, correct?
That's the same as an injury. Yeah, if you have that situation and you have a player who needs to be out a second quarter because of the asthma acted up some way.
It may be in the middle of the.
Just let your AR know, that's when, then the arrow will write on the back of the card, the number 2 had to be out 2 quarters because of an asthma.
I usually bring it up before the game, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yes,
been
just
in the
in
middle of
case.
a quarter. where
So
the-
importantly to that one, if something happens at any time during the game, this is all matches, players can come to the touchline, get their inhaler, get water, whatever it needs, as long as they stay on the field. If you need to pull the player off for a medical emergency, absolutely pull the player off. We can't substitute at that moment, but when the ball is dead the next time, let the AR know. And if you want to substitute, you're welcome to do that. If you don't, you want to get the player back on the field, then you just communicate with the referees and then let us know when that player is ready. We'll pull them right back on the field. You just play short a little bit. So the options are available.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Well,
A question about that. If I'm playing with 12 players in the playoff, okay, and so I'll pull off, so we're finished now, and we're going into extra time, okay? Can I rotate the player that I pulled out back in if it's in extra time?
for extra time?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you're getting ahead of where I'm teaching, but yeah, that's only going to be though.
In the
The only time
championships.
that's going to happen
Championships.
is the championship matches,
yeah.
period.
So
Not even the
if you-
semifinals.
yeah, if you had one pulled off and somebody gets hurt,
But the only a hurt situation, both, I just want to rotate because we've only got 12 players and just, I've had to pull her out.
Yeah, well, once you've completed regulation in a championships match, then you have 2 full 5s. You can put whoever you want in, and there's no limit on how long they play or whatever.
Perfect.
But for the rest of you, at least for these matches, we're not worried about that. Yes.
Well, what's the consequence if you don't play your players the minimum 3 quarters?
tarred and feathered.
I'm just based on actual
Without good
experience,
cause?
the question. Without good cause.
Okay, well, it's gonna get noted on the back of the card, because hopefully my ARs, if they're doing it right, will have talked to you and said, well, Billy's already been out of a quarter, you sure you want him out again? And if you, as a coach, say, yes, I do, he's gonna ask you, well, why is he sick, injured, whatever, and you say, no, I just don't wanna play him this quarter. Then it's gonna be on the back of the card, and you're gonna get a call from your division director.
And as referees, we do not have any input into determining the outcome of the match or any administrative actions. So
Yeah.
the answer is, the people who get paid the big bucks will be the ones to figure out what
How to
happens.
punish you.
And, yeah,
Yes,
as a division
As
director.
a division director,
Thank you.
I have had this happen in my division in the playoffs before. And in that situation, it was a forfeit for the team that didn't play the players according to the rules. So you can count on that's
Precedent
likely
has been
scenario. If you don't have a good reason
Yeah.
for not playing everybody according to the playing rules, you're likely gonna get up with a forfeit.
And I'm willing to bet that we probably will be ending our coaching career with Region 4 at the same time. Would that be about right? Probably,
Probably.
yes.
And the
I'm just trying to
coaches
think of
are
the
aware of the
instance, but I don't know.
rules. The coaches are aware
Yeah.
of the three-quarter rule.
of these
Yeah,
rules.
I know they are.
So it should not be a surprise to the coach.
Right.
And
But-
also, can I just make a statement, because this weekend we had a newer AR, and as a, center rep or someone is a center rep, it's our job to check their cards quarterly and make sure that they're being written properly.
It's
However.
your job to check the games at the end of
At
the
the
game.
end, but also
not
it is,
quarterly. No.
but if I'm not sure, just to check it at the
You can
half.
totally check
Oh,
it, but
sure.
that's, you don't, because otherwise we're taking time from the kids playing
Okay.
with cards being checked.
But, but another question, it goes in accordance with this, is that it's important for the coaches also, when you're signing on that, make sure that we marked it properly too. We're human,
Yes.
and just to make sure, because we don't want that scenario to happen whatsoever, and we don't take a picture of the game cards. So we absolutely, we're human, I guess, so, I don't know. So those things happen.
Referees, we're not human.
Yeah, so, I mean, no, and all, just to be fair to you, the coaches, please, please check them for us and double check.
Coaches are actually signing cards for playoffs also, and what they are verifying is the substitution pattern. They are not verifying the score, they're not verifying cautions, misconduct. They're just verifying substitution patterns only. Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, kicks from the mark, it's still just the players that are on the field, just before kicks from the mark.
Kicks from the mark, just the players who are in at the fourth quarter for all matches and in the second overtime for the championship.
We were about to get to that shortly, but anyway, good question.
Yep.
No, it's not there, but.
No, it's not there.
We have more.
David,
Can you clarify
clarify.
for everybody,
Everybody.
who gets credit for playing a quarter if someone comes out injured mid-quarter?
Beautiful. So the credit goes to the player who began the quarter. We do not, if a player comes off injured, we do not mark the card saying this player came off and that player is on. Once you've done your substitution breaks as a referee and you've marked who's out and who is not out, so you just mark who's out, that's it. If we make changes for substitutions, we don't change the substitution on the card. If something smells funny to you as a referee, just saying, this one player who said, no, coach, I'm fine. No, you're hurt. Come on over here. If something smells funny to you, there's a back of the card that says additional comments. Player number was taken out third quarter, did not appear injured. Coach insisted they come out. Done and done.
So if they are, as you see, as a referee, you see that they're injured, you don't need to mark an additional comments that the player came out?
No, not for that quarter. Now, if they're gonna be out next quarter also because of that injury.
And they've already been out a quarter?
Okay,
So
so for
back
the full
a card.
game, if they're out for the full game, then you mark
You
it.
could, on that card, put number 5, injured leg could not continue.
But not like if they leave halfway.
If they leave halfway through a quarter, you don't need to mark anything.
Or even 2 minutes.
Or even 10 seconds of the quarter.
Once they started that quarter in, they get credit for being in the whole quarter, and the one who was out gets credit for being out that whole quarter.
Yep.
All
right.
Okay.
You want to chat misconduct for a moment?
Yeah, what's next? Disciplinary sanctions, misconduct. We fortunately, have very little need for that in our region, but once in a while it happens. Okay, it does happen, especially as the kids get a little older. So, what they want you to know about that if you have given a caution or a send-off, anytime during the game, those things carry over to the kicks from the mark. So a player who was sent off can't now take part in the kicks from the mark. A player who was cautioned can play part in them, but if they get another caution during the kicks, that I've never seen in the region.
Never seen in that region.
But anyway, that's the rule. Then they could be sent off at that point. Or they could be given a caution if they didn't already have one. Don't have to worry about it a lot. Again, I've yet to see that happen in our regional stuff. So, anyway.
Another question, I'm
Yes.
sorry. We had some instances, and at this point, being the last game of the regular season where parents and coaches get overzealous. A lot of yelling is going on toward the kids, and from the parents and the coaches and to the refs.
Especially from the parents who are the coaches?
Well, yeah, I mean,
That used to be me.
no, I mean, because your season, and I asked this from everyone, how do you handle the situation? I mean, you try to pull them aside first and those kind of things, but how do you handle the parents who are not coaches?
We are going to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
That's it.
I mean, and respect to everyone,
No,
I just never gets excited.
it's a good question. In playoffs, it gets a little hot.
Yeah, it gets a little
Girls
hot.
10, 9-year-old girls soccer, it is the World Cup. Yes, so we are going to talk about how to defuse a couple situations. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, but anyway, fortunately, there's not a lot of reason for misconducts. If you don't have to give them, then you don't have to worry about any of this, but if you do give them, they do affect that. So you do, especially in terms of the send-off, that player then could not participate in the kicks. Okay, general rules?
We talked about that one already?
No.
First one.
Oh, yeah, only, well, we kind of, but we want to emphasize that. Only the players who are on the field at the end of the regulation, but there's an exception to that, or temporarily off for an injury. What that means is the player got an injury and the coach chose to play short, partly because he knew it's another couple minutes they're going to go to kick, probably go to kicks. That player who was injured, assuming he's capable of it, could participate in the kicks from the mark. Yes?
Do you want us to tell the coaches this rule before the game?
It's a good idea at your, when you're checking the teams in, to remind them. We wish we should assume the coaches know about it, but they might possibly forget. And it does affect, in terms of coaches, who they want to be in the fourth quarter. Especially if the game looks like it's, after the first half, looks like it's going close.
So if they sub someone in for the injured player, then that injured player isn't eligible.
That's correct. If they sub someone, then that sub is, the one who comes in is, and that where as an AR, you don't have to change who's out on the card, but you have to, in your brain or somewhere else on the card mark, yeah, number 5 is out, number 6 came in for him, number 6 is the one now who can take part of the kicks. Okay. So it's important that you be aware of that, but basically it's going to be the players on the field at the end of regulation. Now, we'll get into how you handle where they are and everything, but if the AR is handling his game card correctly, that's not a big deal, it's on there. They have 2 subs, and then you get the 2 little outs marked, you know who's out. Everybody else is eligible to take from the kicks, the 2 who they always aren't. So that's pretty simple unless we have that injury situation where it changes. Okay?
So the second half of that first paragraph, if you look at that. Team started the match with less than the normal number. So you have a U12 game. 9 players on the field, including the keeper. One team only has 8. Play that way the entire match. If the match ends in a tie, the team with 9 has to reduce the number of kickers down to 8. Okay?
It reduced to equate phrase, that's
Right.
what that means.
2 teams of 11. Someone gets a red card in the match, and then that same team gets a second red card in the match. Now they only have 9 eligible kickers. If we're tied, we go into playoffs in the 14s. The team that had 11 must also reduce down to 9 kickers for kicks from the mark. Any questions about reducing down? Great.
Now, there's one, though, additional part about that. If after you start kicks, and the team that you've already reduced to equate once, and one of the teams then at that point has one of their players injured during kicks, it can happen, and that player cannot continue, you can't substitute for that player. So now, the team that had, what we were talking about, the 8 instead of 9, now has 7. The other team then has to reduce to equate also to equal theirs.
You had mentioned 11, but if it's just the kids that are on the field at the end of regulation, because just 9 kids will be kicking.
Yeah, so I mentioned 11 for 14,
Yeah, for
U14s, yeah. But whatever the regulation number is,
Yeah.
correct.
But the only reason you need to reduce the equate is if when you start kicks, the team has at least one short.
Right.
For illness, injury, misconduct, that's unlikely, but still.
Had somewhere else to be.
Yeah.
The lowest number, of course.
Right. The lowest number, truly regardless of reason.
So, the number of kicks, so that determines the number of them penalty kicks.
That determines the number of kickers. That does not determine the number of penalty kicks. We'll talk about that
Yeah, we'll get to
in a
that.
moment. Yeah.
Okay.
The number of people who are eligible to take kicks.
So that reduce to equate's important to remember. It doesn't usually happen, but once in a while there'll be a team for whatever number of reasons just has less players. They don't have the maximum number that are supposed to be on the field. So, anyway, again, it doesn't happen too often, but it can. All right, skipping ahead.
Procedures.
Well, I didn't, there's something else here I wanted to mention. No, I talked about that. Okay, we're good. Okay. Now, if you read FIFA laws, because nobody's allowed on the field but the players, if they're gonna do kicks, that's still it. there's the players. And the captains kind of rule what happens with the kicks. We aren't dealing with adults, we're not dealing with professionals. So when we go to kicks from the mark, we allow, remember we know who can't kick, it's marked on the card. We allow all the players and both coaches, if there's two, to come on the field at the halfway line. There's the center circle. Team came on from this side, they're going to be located at the center circle where it intersects the halfway line. The other team's going to be over here at the center circle where it intersects the halfway line. And they're allowed to have the players who aren't going to take part in the kicks on the field with them.
Including ones that were sent up.
Pardon?
Including any that were sent up.
Yeah, so that's a good distinction. So from a procedural standpoint, okay, as referees, you would like to keep all eligible kickers outside of the center circle on their half of the halfway line. Any players who are ineligible, meaning players sent off, players who did not finish the match, put them inside the center circle with the coach. That's kind of the,
That's one way to do it.
you know, the spectator-esque area.
You're getting into a good question. It's not a bad question. Fortunately, not one we have to deal with a lot, because we don't send too many off. Theoretically, a player who's sent off during the match is supposed to leave the field and not be around. But because they're children and if they don't have a parent there, we can't ask them to walk home. So, okay. So they might still be there on the sideline, but they can't participate in the handshake, and they can't, which isn't going to occur yet on the kicks. But they can't participate in the handshake after everything's over. They can't participate in kicks. But that's a good place for them because they have to have a safe haven certified person taking care, supervising them.
So the next component of this is really critical. Bottom of the paragraph, okay? Really want to make sure that we can keep the touch lines organized and not down by the goal, as parents never should be. Absolutely not any closer to the corner than the top of the goal, the penalty area, the 18-yard box. If you can help it, and if you have enough command of the match and the touch line, it'd be really awesome if parents wouldn't be any closer than the technical area, which is the circle. So if they're no closer to the corner of the field than the center circle, that's even better. The goalkeepers have more, and the kids have more than enough pressure on them. We don't need parents right down there at the edge. So if you can move everyone back, that's great. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, just know that they cannot be any closer than the penalty area. You know, that's kind of.
So at the YMCA field, there's that one wall.
Yes.
And everyone sits in the shade.
Right.
So you just do PKs on the other side, so you don't have to worry about people moving their chairs.
And we will talk about that in a second, but that's a really good tactical strategy, yeah.
And at Brookside here, you got 3 fields, 2 fields are back, like this. It's impossible for you as referees to supervise non-parents or not people who aren't affiliated with those teams.
Yeah.
You want to try to encourage them. If you can, find one of us hanging around the field, get your support staff over there to help you monitor that. Okay, but yeah, it's really important as much as possible. It's certainly, yeah, no closer than the top of the area. Okay, when kicks begin, the defending goalkeeper, chosen from the eligible players, okay, takes up a position on the goal line between the goalposts and may not, and this relates to the new rules put out by FIFA, may not move forward until the kicker kicks the ball. The goalkeeper must keep, the goalkeeper may move side to side along the line, this kind of thing you see sometimes. Skipping my own reading here. Okay. He may move side to side along the line before the ball is kicked, as long as he keeps 1 foot on or above the line.
And that is a change this year. It used to be 2 feet have to stay on or on the line. And now you can have 1 on or above the line, which means the other foot can be, you know, as far as they can stretch forward if you want, so that they can get a good push off and be able to cut the angle down. But
And that's usually going to have, if you, again, it tends most times the goalkeeper will stand there like rocks and wait to see what
Oh my
happens.
gosh.
But if you have a more sophisticated goalkeeper, he's gonna maybe wanna guess which way the ball's going. That's what they do in professional. So he's gonna turn, he's got one foot in the field, the other one needs to be on, and that way he can move down the line a little bit and or dive. You have to judge, is it over? Okay, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, any questions about that law? 1 foot on the line.
Got
Where
it.
should the ARs be positioned?
We'll talk about positioning in a
We'll
moment.
get
Yep.
to that, yeah, we'll get to that. Now,
The next piece.
well, no, before we get to that, trifling. Now we've told you the official rules, okay? You're doing 10s. We have no
Doing
VAR,
12s.
and we don't wanna do like they did in the World's Women Cup, to call back and let another attempt at a goal made when the goalkeeper had 1 foot off the line and the second one literally 2 inches off the line, and the ball missed the goal by 4 yards.
Right.
That was an ugly scene, and it shouldn't have happened.
It will be extremely rare for you to call a goal back because the goalkeeper came off the line. It needs to be egregious, like to the point where both touch lines are screaming that this actually happened, okay? Like they've taken 3 steps, they're basically on the 6-yard box at that point, on the goal box.
Practically there, yeah.
Yeah, and they're practically in front of the kicker. So it's gotta be beyond egregious to call something like this. Just because they stepped off half a second early, okay, don't be that referee. Okay, so that is our guidance. It is ridiculously rare, and it's gotta be, I mean, it's gotta be like a throw-in hopping on 1 foot kind of a thing, okay? We all clear about that?
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been called in a long time. Let's try to keep it that way. Coaches will instruct their keepers the right way. Let's let the kids play. Let's not take this from them.
And one kind of way to think about it is you have to feel that that player coming off early allowed him either to stop the ball or change the direction of the kick so it missed.
Gained an advantage by
So
doing it.
if he gains an advantage, then that's not trifling. But if he takes a step and a half with each foot off, goes over the top of the goal or off to the side, that did not
Wouldn't have
affect
affected it on things.
that play. That's not, you don't call that.
And the last couple things.
Okay, a couple ones. Okay, that kicks, okay. Oh, yes, keeper does, because this AYSO, coach may choose to change keepers every time there's a kicker. I hope he won't, because that would really take a long time to do it. But basically, he can change goalkeepers with players who are eligible to participate at any point in time. Just has to let the referee know he wants to do that, so they can make the change. No one has to wear a goalkeeper jersey. Okay? Again, what a mess if they had to change the keeper every time, took his jersey every time. Okay, so if he wants to put some player who up there, I mean, it's gonna be no argument about who's the goalkeeper, it's the guy standing on the line.
There's no rebounds, so we're good.
There's no rebounds. All right?